This is the CitizenLink report.
If you find our insights helpful, would you support our video efforts? $500 buys an hour of studio time. And we usually don't use a whole hour, but it covers the crew, lights, cameras, all that. That means your gift of $25 or more goes a long ways. Just click on donate. Thanks from all of us. The campaigns are entering the final stretch. The conventions are highlighting the distinct differences between the parties on life, marriage, and religious freedom. This is the CitizenLink report. Hi, I'm Stuart Shepard along with Tom Minnery, our executive director. Hi, Tom.
Hello, Stuart.
You spent last week in Tampa at the Republican National Convention. What did you see?
Wow, I saw many things. I would say this. I was most struck, Stuart, by ethnic diversity in the Republican Party. It's oftentimes derided as the party of the white establishment, but it is not. More and more minorities are inhabiting the Republican Party than I've ever noted before, and I've been to these things before, so that was a fresh revelation, including a lot of younger office holders who are coming up and taking their place in this party's firmament.
What do you think is causing that?
I think more and more there is a recognition of what this country stands for. And let me tell you what I mean by that. We have two governors, Nikki Haley of North Carolina, Bobby Jindal of Louisiana, whose parents were immigrants from India. They understand that in the old country there is not opportunity. In the new country, there is. They really, really understand what America is all about. There is a senator whose parents emigrated from Cuba. That would be the well-known Marco Rubio, U.S. Senator from Florida. But probably there will be a second U.S. Senator if he wins the election in November, and he probably will. That would be Ted Cruz, whose father suffered in jails, Castro's prisons in Cuba before getting out and coming here. Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio have a fresh understanding of what this country is all about, the opportunities, both socially, spiritually, and economically, that are available here. And I think that is taking hold across this party.
There were some leading voices on the other side of the issues we talk about often here who spoke, unfortunately, disparagingly about what you're making the observations about, and also about the fact that so many Republican women were allowed to speak at the convention, who were asked to speak at the convention.
Well, indeed, there were. And some of the people who spoke really did not know until they got into politics what side they were on. Susana Martinez, the governor, Republican governor of the thoroughly Democratic state, the Democrat Party state of New Mexico. She was a prosecutor for many years. Not until she got into party politics did she know what side she was on. When she began paying attention to this, she said, my husband and I surprised ourselves because what we believed was Republican. And so there are people finding their way into the party because of its beliefs, and the fact that they are women is a wonderful thing, and the fact that they are thriving, such as Susana Martinez is thriving in a state populated primarily by the Democrat Party, indicates that there is possibility to carry a message where it hasn't gone before by these people.
Now, the speeches we heard coming out of the convention highlighted what I think are unmistakable differences between the two parties. Mitt Romney, in his acceptance speech, used very plain language on the issues that we care about. Let's listen.
As president, I'll protect the sanctity of life. I'll honor the institution of marriage. And I will guarantee America's first liberty, the freedom of religion.
Tom, a lot of conservatives I've seen quoting on Facebook Mitt Romney's past positions on some of these issues and saying, aha, he's not really a conservative. And that has a lot of folks asking, does he really mean what he says, like what he just said in that speech?
Well, first of all, Stuart, the party platform ran to 50 pages. He could have said a lot of things. What he focused on were precisely those points in the excerpt that you played.
Yeah.
Now, pro-life, is he pro-life? Well, he used to be pro-abortion when he ran in the early 90s against Senator Ted Kennedy. People call him a flip-flopper. Well, no, I would call him a flipper. He flipped in our direction, and he has stayed there, and he's been uniform in that belief. And so I think it's good for people to come in our direction. On marriage, he speaks strongly, and our allies in Massachusetts who've watched him as governor during the time when Massachusetts became the first state to allow same-sex marriage because of a court opinion, not his opinion, our allies believe he did everything he could on that issue at that time for marriage.
All right, so you see him moving the proper direction toward conservatism and becoming stronger as time goes along.
And the fact that he would highlight those in that acceptance speech as opposed to any of the other 49 pages is significant to me.
I want to point out, he used the phrasing, "I'll honor the institution of marriage." Some might want to parse that and say, aha, there as well. But in previous speeches, and we've heard him say, he is in favor of a constitutional amendment to protect marriage as one man and one woman. He's been very clear about that.
Well, he has been consistent, and I assume that when he says, "I'll honor marriage," he is speaking consistently with his previous statements about supporting a constitutional amendment on marriage. And at any rate, the party platform adopted by the delegates enthusiastically calls for just that, a constitutional amendment on marriage.
Now, before we talk some more about some of the other speakers, I have to ask this. This week, as we're recording this, the Democratic National Convention is kicking off down in Charlotte. Will we hear this kind of language down there? In the past, they've used very soft language to talk about issues like marriage and life, and they've used euphemisms, if you will, rather than plain language. Do you think they'll be more forthright to say, we support same-sex marriage, we're in favor of abortion?
We'll see. I think that they'll do what they did last time around, which was to offer gauzy, fuzzy, soft language. We support reproductive freedom for all women. We support marriage equality. And those on the inside understand that that means same-sex marriage. Will be satisfied. Those who don't understand what marriage equality is will find that to be a welcoming phrase without meaning.
And we'll be watching closely to see the kind of language. We'll try to put them side by side maybe in a future episode, let you make your decision which party best reflects your values on these issues. Now, we talked about Mitt Romney. That's the name everybody recognized at the convention. But there were also some other names which were down ballot, if you will. One of them, Mia Love. Never heard of her. Tell me about her.
Mia Love was born Ludmilla Bordeaux. That's a Haitian name. Her parents emigrated with $10 in their pocket from Haiti. She is now the mayor of Saratoga Springs, Utah. She has won the Republican Party's nomination for U.S. Congress. She is favored to win in November. If she wins, she will be the first black Republican woman member of Congress. I was almost going to say African American, but she's not. She's Haitian American.
Right.
So she's Haitian. And she really lit the convention on fire when she spoke, and she will be someone to watch in the future.
Let's hear a little bit of her speech at the convention.
The American dream isn't just my story. It isn't just your story. It's our story. It's a story of human struggle, standing up and striving for more. Our story has been told for over 200 years with small steps and giant leaps. From a woman on a bus to a man with a dream, from the bravery of the greatest generation to the innovators and entrepreneurs of today, this is our story. This is our America. This is the America we know because we built it.
Now, we've also heard there's that perception out there that the Republican Party tends to be older, kind of grandfatherly, grandmotherly, if you will. That's not what it looked like this year.
No, in fact, Mia Love, whose excerpt we just heard, she's 37 years old, I believe. The chairman of the Republican National Party, Reince Priebus, was 39 when he was elected, I think a year or two ago, to the job he holds now. Paul Ryan, the party's vice presidential candidate, I believe, is 42. Chris Christie, who seems like he's been on the national scene for a long time, the governor of New Jersey, is 49. Bobby Jindal, the governor of Louisiana is in his 40s. By the way, he was not at the convention. He was scheduled to be there, but when Hurricane Isaac veered toward Louisiana, he stayed back properly. But on and on it goes. Brian Sandoval, the new governor of Nevada, he's in his 40s, again, Hispanic descent. A lot of youth, a lot of vigor in this party just now.
All right. Thursday evening, President Obama is expected to give his acceptance speech in an outdoor arena. They're talking about filling it with 74,000 people. Similar to, you may remember, 4 years ago, he gave his acceptance speech just up the road from us in Denver at Mile High Stadium. What will you be listening for in that speech? What are you looking for?
Specifics, and I'm sure I won't find them, but I will see how he appeals to people after the record that really did not match his promise. And so I suspect what we'll find is criticism of the Republicans more so than an appreciation of his first term in office. That has been his theme until now. I suspect that he will not depart from it. So how he does that marries the criticism of his opponent with an uplifting message to trust me one more time. That'll be difficult, but he is a master when he gets behind the platform, when he's fortified by that teleprompter. And in fact, nearly all the Republican speakers use teleprompters at the Republican convention. We'll see how he does that. I'm not sure he's going to have an easy time pulling it off, but we'll see.
I was looking at headlines before we came down here. Apparently no post-convention bounce coming off the Republican convention, at least not a huge significant headline producing one. To me, that may be indication that most people have their minds made up. They weren't waiting to be convinced, they're already there.
Don't know. I had heard otherwise, that there was a small bounce as expected for Romney, but in the light of the Democratic Party convention this week, that probably will disappear. So we'll be waiting to see what the president gets after his convention concludes.
All right. Final thoughts as we look at the last days of this campaign.
Voting is important. Voting makes a difference. The people are narrowly divided. It's very difficult to turn an incumbent president out of office for a newcomer. And we'll see what happens. It makes me feel very good that we have spent so much of our time and effort this year through Focus on the Family doing voter registration, and through CitizenLink doing grassroots voter mobilization, because every vote will count. So while there is still time for you to register if you're not registered, or for you to get friends and family or church associates registered to vote, please do it.
We want to point you to the website for that. It's commit2vote2012.com. You can find the forms on there to fill out to register in your state. It'll also have the address for you to mail that in. We want to make sure you register, because if you're not registered, you don't get to vote in this election.
And then you don't get to complain either.
That's true. Tom, thank you for all your insights and for taking us, in a sense, to the convention and through your eyes. And thank you for watching. We always appreciate hearing from you, your comments, your criticisms. You may always write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. Remember, stand tall and be heard.